You want to hear something wild? I spent 12 years battling HOAs and bad faith landlords for other people, and the first time I buy a house for myself, I walk straight into the kind of mess I used to drag into federal court. If that's not the universe having a laugh, I don't know what is. I'm Tyler Gray, ex-federal attorney, and this is the story of how a Tennessee dream home turned into the craziest legal showdown of my life. Only this time, I was the one under siege. So here's the setup. I just retired, burned out, no wife, no kids, just enough pension to buy peace and quiet. Found this place out near the tree line, end of a cul-de-sac in Lakewood Ridge, big wraparound porch, sunrises over the hills, the kind of house you see in those start your new chapter real estate ads. Paid cash, all the paperwork done, title clean, zoning confirmed, and most importantly, an ironclad, notarized letter from the developer that said, clear as day, my lot was never subject to an HOA. Early carve-out, grandfathered in, the whole 9 yards. I checked. I triple-checked. I am not a guy who misses fine print. I haul my last boxes from Virginia, take a few days to breathe, and when I pull up that Sunday night, there it is. Glossy black sign at the entrance to the cul-de-sac. Private community, HOA members only. Trespassers will be prosecuted. Not exactly a warm welcome, right? But you tell yourself, hey, maybe it's just to keep out the Amazon vans or whatever. The road only leads to my house, nobody else's, so I figure, what the hell. Next morning, I'm fixing a screen door, coffee in hand, when a white Lexus crawls up my drive and parks halfway on the grass like it owns the place. Out steps this woman, mid-50s, starched linen, iPad under her arm, looks like the casting call for HOA president, villain edition. Doesn't wave, doesn't smile, just comes straight up, stops 5 feet from me and says, Mr. Gray, I presume? Like she's about to serve me a warrant. I tell her, yeah, that's me. She introduces herself. Karen Milbrook, president of Lakewood Preserve Homeowners Association. You can probably guess where this is going. She hands me a packet, thick, stapled, printed like a college syllabus. You are required to sign the HOA membership agreement, remit the initiation fee of $12,000, and begin monthly payments of $375. All new residents must comply within 30 days of occupancy. I look her right in the eye and say, that's going to be a problem. She gives me this frozen smile like I just cuss it in church. My property isn't part of your HOA. I confirmed it before I bought, documented, signed, sealed, all of it. She gets this tightness in her jaw, like she's not used to people talking back. That may have been true years ago, but the board voted to extend the boundaries. Your house is now within our jurisdiction. You know what I mean? It was like talking to a wall painted beige. I tell her again, deed, zoning, exemption, the works. Want to compare paperwork? She threatens legal enforcement, tells me I'm already out of compliance with their standards, and says I should prepare for the consequences. I tell her with a big, fake smile, so do I. She leaves, slamming her Lexus door so hard I thought the airbags might go off. I tossed her packet on the kitchen table, poured more coffee, and started pulling up my legal docs. I hadn't written a complaint in a year, but this was muscle memory, you know? Because if there's one thing I learned, this was just the opening move. The next morning, whole driveways blocked off with a mountain of gravel and a couple of road closed, maintenance in progress signs, plus 4 guys in reflective vests doing their best impersonation of a county road crew. No permit, no cones, just a bunch of private security and pickup trucks. I ask the foreman for a work order. He shrugs, says, we were hired by the HOA. I take photos, call the county, no record of any scheduled work. Next call, non-emergency police line. While I'm waiting, I check the kitchen faucet, nothing. No water. AC spigot? Dry. Panel? Dead. Smart thermostat. No connection. They'd actually cut my utilities. When Deputy Martinez shows up, I lay out the whole thing, gravel blockade, fake road crew, power and water shut off, and now these hired goons are telling me I'm trespassing on my own land. He frowns, takes notes, talks to the foreman, comes back and says, well, it looks like a civil dispute. I can't make them move without a court order. I hand him my ID, deed, utility statements. Hell, I even have my old bar card out for good measure. He promises to write a report, but you can tell he's used to neighborhood pettiness, not organized sabotage. I spend the night at a motel, phone charging in the wall, writing out a timeline of everything, photos, videos, PDFs from the electric and water companies. Both had received termination orders from a third-party property management firm, hired by the HOA, with a signature that was supposed to be mine, except it read T. Grant. Not even close. I mean, if you're going to forge, at least spell my name right. Now I'm pissed, but I don't yell. I just dig in. County clerk's office, original subdivision map, annexation docs, every amendment on file. The clerk's been there 16 years, she tells me. I've never seen a boundary expanded retroactively without a public vote. And let me tell you, irregular is not a word you want to hear from a county clerk. But it's not just paperwork. By now, the neighbors are acting cold. Folks who waved on Sunday now pretend they don't see me. Somebody leaves a note on my windshield. Maybe you should move somewhere with less community. Some guy walks past my yard and mutters. Some people think they're above the rules. Flyers start popping up in mailboxes about a bad faith actor undermining community cohesion. No names, but I'm the only holdout in the cul-de-sac. That's when Jason knocks on my door. Big guy, ex-military vibe, says he used to be on the board until he started asking too many questions. He hands me a photocopy of an internal HOA memo. Strategic expansion agenda. Lists all the usual stuff, then right there. Acquire non-member parcels through enforcement pressure and incentivized alignment. Target holdout properties. Review deed history for leverage. I read it twice, mouth dry. This wasn't just some bored retirees trying to collect dues. This was a playbook for a hostile takeover. I thank Jason, scan the doc, add it to the folder, and keep digging. That's when I find the signature of Leonard R. Huffman approving the annexation of my parcel, a man who, as far as I can tell, never owned my property. Turns out he's the registered agent for a dissolved LLC 2 towns over. The HOA didn't just fudge the lines, they invented a fake owner to sign away my rights. Now it's fraud, not just overreach. I call up Emily Cho, my old colleague in Nashville, brilliant bulldog land use attorney. Send her every scrap I've got. The forgeries, the bad actor flyers, Jason's memo, the photo of my house that shows up in my mailbox with a threat. This can all be over if you just sign. Emily calls me back inside the hour. Tyler, this is racketeering, plain and simple. Don't say a word to them. I'll be there Friday. The next days, I dig through county records. That's where I find it. A boundary expansion motion signed by Karen, 2 board members, and L.R. Huffman. No public notice, no community vote, no supporting survey, but still rubber-stamped by a junior planner, Daniel Ortiz. I know the name. Ran into him during a DOJ investigation years ago. The kind of bureaucrat who treats rules like a speed bump. I file a records request for every internal email between him and Karen. Back home, my mailbox is wide open. Inside, an envelope with a single photo of my backyard. The words, "This can all be over if you just sign." It's not subtle anymore. Check the cameras, 2:30 a.m., figure in a hoodie, headlights, in and out. They know the angles. I take everything, photo, footage, timeline, down to the sheriff's office and file for a restraining order. The deputy raises an eyebrow. You think they're watching you? I nod. Already proved it. He just shakes his head. You know, we've had a couple calls about this HOA. They're intense. Intense. Yeah, sure. Emily arrives loaded for bear. Copies of lawsuits from other counties where Karen tried the same stunts. Boundary manipulation, fabricated covenants, pressure tactics. She's done this before. No one's ever stood up. Well, I'm not just standing, I'm fighting. Emily drafts our case. Unlawful interference, fraudulent filings, civil conspiracy, and her idea, a RICO claim. Show a pattern, coordinated coercion for financial gain, organized fraud. I say, let's nuke it. By Monday, the complaint's filed, 31 pages, exhibits, notarized affidavits, the whole works. Thursday, a county investigator calls. By Friday, the planning department audits every HOA boundary expansion in the last 3 years. The house of cards is shaking. Then the early morning knock. County deputy, investigator from the auditor's office. They sit at my kitchen table, reviewing everything, fake annexation, forged owner, threats, utilities shut off, the bad actor flyers, the whole Jason memo. They confirm, my parcel was excluded from the original HOA. And 2 other similar cases are under review. You're not the first, just the first to fight it publicly. That afternoon, the sheriff raids the HOA office, basically a locked room in the community clubhouse. They take the computer, file cabinets, and a motivational poster about compliance. That night, Jason drops off a printout, Karen spinning the story, calling me a hostile agitator, seeking a board vote for preemptive enforcement, and private surveillance. He's got a recording of a meeting, Karen saying, "If Mr. Gray insists on acting like he's above the law, we'll treat him like the threat he is. Get eyes on him. Find something, anything. No one is immune to pressure." Emily's thrilled. That's actionable. Makes a damn fine opening in court. The press gets wind, first the local paper, then the TV news, then blogs. Retired federal attorney suing HOA over fraud, forced annexation, and stalking allegations. People eat it up. 2 more homeowners come forward, both with stories of sudden annexation, surprise fees, threats. Emily adds them to the case. Suddenly we're heading toward a class action. Karen gets subpoenaed. Daniel Ortiz, the junior planner, gets put on leave for ethics violations. Emails start leaking, spreadsheets labeled holdout targets, with my name and pressure applied, pending. Turns out, a dozen other people had already caved and paid up or moved. Now I'm local folklore. Some see me as a hero, others as the guy who wrecked community harmony. Karen disappears, HOA splinters. But then the retaliation ramps up. Fake code violations, clipboard-wielding inspectors, slashed tires, mailbox ripped off, snitch spray painted on my garage door. Now it's not just paperwork, it's goon tactics. But I document everything. Emily files for emergency relief. Judge grants a restraining order against the HOA. 2 deputies deliver it by hand to the shell-shocked board. Karen's gone. That night, Jason drops off a flash drive, HOA's entire internal Slack archive. Operation Fence-In. Plans to manipulate code enforcement, meme of me as Tyler the Tyrant. It's almost funny if it weren't so nuts. A week later, federal agents show up at Karen's place. She skipped town. Interpol alert, all that. The feds open a RICO case, organized crime for suburban tyrants, you better believe it. Daniel Ortiz comes in for a deposition, admits Karen offered him bonuses to push the annexations. He hands over emails, memos, everything. A grand jury indicts Karen and 3 board members. Lakewood Preserve HOA? Dissolved. Court-appointed trustee, restitution fund. Everyone who was defrauded gets their money back, plus damages. You know the first person who called to thank me? Gerald, a 72-year-old guy down the road. Karen tried to charge him $28,000 in beautification fees. He nearly lost his home. Now he's got enough to fix the roof, no thanks to the community that tried to ruin him. The county apologizes, passes Gray's law. No more boundary expansions without notarized consent. Emily gets podcast invites. I just hang a sign at the end of my drive. This is not your community. This is my land. And because I couldn't sit still, I started a nonprofit, property defense initiative. Free legal advice, document audits, emergency restraining orders for people trapped in these HOA nightmares. 5 cases in the first 2 months. Arizona, Florida, Utah, North Carolina. Turns out, Karen wasn't the only one playing dictator with a pastel binder. Look, I didn't set out to be anybody's folk hero. All I wanted was a house, a little porch, the right to drink my coffee in peace. But sometimes the only thing standing between you and a bully is knowing your rights and refusing to back down. Yeah, I was lucky. I had the background and the time to fight. But here's the truth, property rights matter. Community shouldn't be a weapon. And if you're out there facing your own HOA nightmare, you're not alone, and they're not invincible. So let's hear it. Have you ever gone toe-to-toe with an HOA? Did you fight or fold? Is there such a thing as a good homeowners association? Drop your story in the comments. Let's talk about what justice looks like where you live, and why sometimes the only right answer is not this time.